Yeah, the whole thing was really hilarious. I stripped her of every last shred of dignity she had. By the end, it was like she wasn't even a human being anymore. And when there was nothing left of her but a sack of meat, I melted the remains in a vat of acid. And the best part is, all those stupid, inbred morons who watch my videos every week and worship the ground that I walk on will never know the horrible truth. I love being evil.
Well, well, isn't this surprising?
I'll call you back. Fourth dimension fool killer. Oh my god, look, let me explain. You see, you got the wrong idea. That whole thing that you just saw, that was taken completely out of context. I didn't actually mean any of it. I'm not really a bad guy. You gotta believe me.
Whoa, hold on just a second here. You're crapping yourself because I heard your whole evil confession, but you didn't care about the video camera filming it, knowing it was gonna be all over the internet?
Yeah.
Why?
Bad writers. So Impact this week was built on two different things. The question of Sting's possible retirement and the Brandon Jacobs publicity stunt. I would say the Brandon Jacobs thing probably worked better. Regardless of what the ratings were, that came off as more effective to me, mostly due to Bully Ray, but I'll get to that in a minute. Bobby Roode starts the show off. He cuts a promo about how Sting is going to announce his retirement tonight because he realized that he could never defeat Bobby Roode and this would be the last time we ever see Sting and blah blah blah. The segment was pretty quick. They got Roode in, he said everything he needed to say, they got him out. Only took about 7 minutes. And after this was over, I was saying to myself, you know, if this had been Raw and Triple H given this promo, that would have gone 15 to 20 minutes easy. You know, so there was no beating around the bush here. I think this was one of Roode's better promos. He definitely looks like he's getting more comfortable in this spot. You know, when his world title run first started, he seemed a little bit robotic. Maybe he was nervous, maybe he needed some time to grow into the new role, but it looks like he's finally doing that. You know, he seems a lot more natural and convincing now than he was a few months ago. From there, we went to Samoa Joe and Magnus versus Morgan and Crimson in a tag title rematch. Now, before this, they did a promo where the faces were showing tension. You know, Crimson blamed Morgan for them losing the tag titles in the first place, so the seeds of that Crimson heel turn are starting to take root, and that's great. I think a heel turn is exactly what that guy needs. So they have their rematch. It's pretty good. You know, the heels win the same way, with Crimson accidentally taking out Morgan. This felt a little anticlimactic to me. I would have preferred this get a bit more time. I mean, it was broken up with a commercial break and that didn't help, but I think it only went something like 8 minutes, which didn't feel like enough if that was going to be the blow-off of the feud, and it kind of felt like that's what it was. Morgan and Crimson have lost to these guys clean twice in a row now. They really don't have any grounds for another rematch. I mean, the feud feels like it's done. I assume they're going to do Morgan versus Crimson at Victory Road now, but it feels a little too soon for that in my opinion. You know, I thought they were going to have the tag title rematch at Victory Road, do the Morgan-Crimson split there, and then have Morgan versus Crimson at Lockdown. So they're kind of fast-tracking this breakup now, which I don't totally agree with. I think letting that simmer for a few more weeks would have been beneficial, but I guess they wanted to pull the trigger on it sooner than I expected. And I assume this means they've got new opponents lined up for Joe and Magnus? I don't know who. I mean, yeah, I'm hoping for the Machine Guns, but Alex Shelley is in the X Division feud now, and you gotta have some kind of resolution with that. So, if they wanted to resolve that feud first, I'd be okay with the Joe Daddies going through a couple makeshift teams in the meantime just to build up some credibility. That would make sense, actually, to not throw the Guns in there right away. Maybe they want to take their time and build up to that for a little bit, because it's really the only great tag team feud they've got in their pocket right now. So I'd understand if they didn't want to blow their wad with that immediately. You maybe wait until after Lockdown to re-debut the Guns if Saban's ready by then, and then build up to a big tag title match at like Slammiversary or something. But this is all up in the air right now. I guess a lot of it depends on when Saban gets cleared to return, so we're just going to have to wait and see. Then there was the Brandon Jacobs segment. He comes out and he cuts a promo on Bully Ray, and they might as well have just had him wear a big t-shirt with publicity stunt written on it. I really wasn't looking forward to this, honestly, but it actually turned out alright. You know, Jacob's timing wasn't great, but considering he doesn't do this for a living, his promo could have been a hell of a lot worse. It was better than his promo last week. Then Bully Ray came out and started tearing into him, and that was pretty fucking entertaining, I will admit. And you only scored 59 yards in the Super Bowl. You didn't even score a touchdown. That was fucking great. Bully Ray turned this into a hot angle with that promo alone. That guy is just fantastic right now. After this was Alex Shelley versus Zema Ion, with Austin Aries watching from ringside with popcorn and red wine. That was hilarious. The match was really good for 4 minutes, and then Ion sprayed hairspray in Shelley's face and got the pin. I knew it was only a matter of time before Ion started doing that, so I guess he's going to be using the Beautiful People's old gimmick now. It was another good win for Ion. I just don't see the point in continuing to job out Alex Shelley like this. With Sorensen out, Shelley's the only viable X Division babyface they've got. Unless they want to start building up Tony Nese and Mark Haskins, and it doesn't look like they do. So, I don't know what the plan is here. Maybe they'll turn Aries face at some point, but to continue booking Shelley like this just seems unwise. They did a Garrett Bischoff backstage promo. This really didn't serve any purpose at all, other than to further demonstrate how little charisma this guy has. Then Hogan showed up to remind Garrett that he has a target on his back, as if he didn't know already. I didn't care about this. Then came the knockout segment. Eric Young spent several minutes acting like a mental patient, jumping in and out of the ring every 30 seconds or so for no real reason.
Will you sit down and quit making a fool out of yourself?
And while he was doing this, I think there might have been a match going on in the ring. I'm not entirely sure since Eric was so damn distracting. I'd have to watch it again, but I can't do that now, the show's over. So to double check this, let's send it to our new live correspondent, Fool Killer from 24 hours ago. Was there in fact a knockouts match in the ring while Eric Young was acting like an idiot?
Someone want to tell Eric that this isn't a handicap match? Up on the apron and trying to tag into ODB.
Yes.
Wow, look at that explosion flying. Clothesline right there by Gail.
Really? Well, if you say so. Gail Kim versus ODB. There was actually a lot of history here. You know, back during their respective first runs in this company, these two characters were good friends, and now they're enemies. And that could have added some intrigue to this matchup if the announcers had bothered to mention it, but they didn't. Regardless, it was a pretty good match. And even though Madison Rayne had to come out there, she ended up not doing anything, thank God. And I actually really like the booking here, believe it or not. Because even though Gail was dealing with multiple distractions from Eric Young and Madison Rayne, she still won the match, and she did it clean. Thank you. Now you're booking Gail Kim like a fucking champion. The booking of Gail really has improved lately. She's been looking a lot stronger. And a lot of that has to do with them getting rid of Karen Jarrett, and a lot of it has to do with her and Madison not being on the same page anymore. That removes all the crutches the writers had, and now they have no choice but to book Gail to win matches on her own. I'm telling you guys, the inverse Rayne effect, it's a proven science. They showed a new video package about Jesse Sorensen with some interview snippets this time. I thought this was really tastefully done. It was pretty heartbreaking actually, and it really made you feel for this guy. Then immediately following this, Robbie E. and Rob Terry came out.
Oh my God, he's gonna puke! He's gonna puke! He's gonna puke! He's gonna puke!
They had a TV title match with Robbie defending against AJ Styles. And if AJ had pinned this no-talent jackass and won the TV title here, that would have added a nice new dimension to this feud with Kaz and Daniels, but that didn't happen, unfortunately. The match was slightly better than the typical Robbie E match, not because of anything he did, mind you, but because he was in the ring with AJ Styles, who could probably have a good match with a broom handle. So AJ would control the action until Rob Terry interfered, then Robbie would hit 2 or 3 sleep-inducing moves, but AJ would go back on the offensive pretty quickly before Robbie had a chance to break out the rest hold of doom. They repeated this pattern a few times. AJ pretty much out-wrestled Robbie the whole match, thankfully. And while AJ was on the offense, it was watchable. But this was really just about getting AJ in the ring so Kaz could attack him. And that's when this finally got interesting. All of a sudden, Kaz seemed much less reluctant to go after AJ. So much so that even Daniels was surprised. And this feud needed some kind of new wrinkle if it was going to stay interesting. This accomplished that, which is good. But I do think they need to reveal what's going on with Kaz fairly soon now, because I don't see how they can organically stretch out this mystery much longer without it getting repetitive. But this new thing with Kaz should give it a little more time at least. But while I'm still interested in what's going on with Kazarian, I am in no way, shape, or form interested in what's going on with Robbie E. This guy is a complete joke, and Rob Terry is only making it worse.
Nobody cares about you guys.
I have no idea why he's still a television champion. They obviously have nothing for him creatively. I don't even know why they gave him the title in the first place. He hasn't had a single feud or storyline since he won the belt. And if all you're going to do with him is stick him in spots like this, where he's just there to facilitate other storylines, then take the fucking title off him and give it to someone who's actually worth watching.
You people are fools!
The main event was Jeff Hardy and James Storm, with Brandon Jacobs in their corner, versus Kurt Angle and Bully Ray, in a no DQ match. So, they had their top 2 babyfaces versus 2 of their top 3 heels in a no DQ match with a celebrity at ringside. And I don't think this match was announced or even mentioned before it happened. Maybe it was on the website or something, I don't know. But my God, I mean, wouldn't a match like that merit some kind of hype? I mean, sure, they built up to it, but I don't know if they ever actually told us there was a match happening here, much less a no DQ match. Speaking of which, why was this a no DQ match? I'll tell you why. So Brandon Jacobs could put Bully Ray through a table. That's it. They didn't even bother using the no DQ stipulation for anything else. That's why it was so transparent. I mean, the match was very enjoyable, but couldn't you have found a way to make it no DQ other than to just have it be a way to facilitate the celebrity interference? And it was annoying how they did that, too, because Jacobs got involved, chokeslammed Bully Ray through a table, which was pretty cool, by the way, but the heels hadn't done anything wrong. I mean, yeah, they were the first ones to go for the table, but that's legal when it's no DQ. I mean, Jacobs had to help the faces win when the heels were playing it completely straight. So the faces basically cheated to win this match, and that kind of bugged me, but I guess the PR they'll get from this outweighs any of those complaints. And generally, I think the Brandon Jacobs angle turned out really well. He was much better in his second appearance than he was in his first one, and I definitely rate this higher than most of the celebrity guest hosts Raw used to have. It's kind of a shame that Bully Ray got fed to this guy, but knowing him, he'll probably find a way to turn that around and use it to generate even more heat for himself. Final segment of the night. Sting comes out, supposedly to announce that he was leaving the wrestling business. Now, earlier in the week, Sting posted a tweet that said, "I'm done." And on the basis of that, everyone and their brother was assuming that Sting was going to retire. This was the main angle of the evening. They were talking about it throughout the night. And for me, the quote-unquote suspense of all this really didn't work. I'm sorry, but the whole Sting retirement thing doesn't even hold water anymore. They've been doing this for a very long time now. Every year we hear the same question. Is it Sting's last year? Is it Sting's last year? Is it Sting's last year? And every year he re-signs. You've even turned it into storylines in the past. And now, when you tease that Sting is going to hang it up after something small like Bobby Roode kicking him in the nuts, I don't think anyone was buying that, especially if this one tweet was all you had to go on. Oh my God, Sting tweeted, "I'm done! Does this mean he's leaving wrestling forever?" The announcers kept on talking about this, and while this was happening, I kept thinking, you know, they're inferring a hell of a lot from this one tweet. Sting could very well have been tweeting that he was done with the meatloaf he had for dinner, or that he was done with American Idol because it's just not the same without Simon Cowell, or that he's done with True Blood because Hoyt and Jessica broke up and we were all hoping those crazy kids would make it work. They were jumping to all these crazy conclusions just to build up the suspense, and the whole thing just seemed kind of silly. All the guy did was tweet 2 freaking words. That could mean anything. It doesn't necessarily mean what you think it does. And lo and behold, it didn't. Bobby Roode comes out to confront Sting, and Sting reveals that "I'm done" didn't mean that he was retiring. It meant that he was booking himself in the main event of the next pay-per-view in a match against the World Heavyweight Champion. So, Victory Road will be headlined by Sting versus Bobby Roode in a grudge match where the title will not even be on the line, apparently. Really don't care for this idea. I guess it does sort of make sense because you need some kind of blow-off with these two characters, and it would be a nice momentum-building win for Bobby Roode heading into Lockdown, but the match just doesn't interest me. I mean, as it is, there's really no drama in this situation because there's nothing at stake. If Sting wins, nothing happens. If Bobby Roode wins, nothing happens. Like I said last week, if you want there to be some intrigue here, then this match needs to have dramatic consequences on Storm versus Roode at Lockdown. Like, if Roode beats Sting, then he can pick a stipulation for the match that'll put Storm at a disadvantage. Something like that. And then, here's how it should go. Every week from now until Victory Road, establish a strong connection between Sting and James Storm. Show that they're friends, that they respect each other, that Sting believes that Storm is going to be the man to take the title from Bobby Roode, and Sting is just going to soften Roode up for him. Then at Victory Road, Bobby Roode destroys Sting. He fucks Sting's shit up, just takes him apart in a really disturbing, violent way. And the pay-per-view fades out with Sting getting rushed out of the arena on a stretcher with James Storm by his side, vowing revenge against Bobby Roode as Roode just stands in the ring smiling and laughing. Book it like that, and now that match is doing something productive. Impact was pretty good this week. I didn't care for the Sting fake out, and Robbie E just needs to go lie down in traffic somewhere. But the Brandon Jacobs angle turned out better than I expected. Joe and Magnus continue to win. Gail Kim's looking a lot stronger. There was some good wrestling, so I didn't have too much to complain about this time. And that's it for me this week. I've been talking for way too damn long, and I gotta start editing this thing, so check me out where you can check me out. Links are down there. Big thanks to Doc Pepper for providing the new theme music. Also, props to Big D. No reason. Just for being Big D. See you next time. Over, out.
Bad writers. Bad right. Hey, wait a minute! I wrote the script for this video, you little prick!
Did you?